The year 2020 was set to deliver another thrilling Major League Baseball season. Fans eagerly anticipated the crack of the bat and the roar of the crowd. Spring training was well underway, with teams preparing for the traditional late March opening day. However, a global event, the COVID-19 pandemic, was about to throw an unprecedented curveball at America's pastime. Concerns grew rapidly as the virus spread, leading to widespread shutdowns across various sectors, and professional sports were no exception. The familiar rhythms of spring were abruptly silenced, replaced by uncertainty and a pressing need to prioritize public health and safety above all else, leaving the baseball world in a state of suspended animation. On March 12, 2020, a significant decision was made. MLB announced the cancellation of the remaining spring training games. Simultaneously, the start of the regular season, originally slated for March 26, was indefinitely delayed. This was a move unseen in modern baseball history, reflecting the gravity of the unfolding global health crisis. Discussions and negotiations between the league and the MLB Players Association commenced, focusing on how, or even if, a season could be salvaged amidst such challenging conditions. The health and safety of players, staff, and fans were paramount, guiding every difficult conversation and decision that lay ahead for the sport, a truly challenging period for everyone involved in the game. After months of intense deliberation and planning, Commissioner Rob Manfred ultimately imposed a drastically shortened 60-game regular season. This was a stark contrast to the standard 162-game marathon. The revised season was scheduled to begin in late July, a full 4 months later than initially planned. This condensed schedule meant every game would carry significantly more weight in the standings, creating a sprint-like atmosphere from the very first pitch. Teams knew there was little room for error, and adapting quickly to the new reality would be crucial for any hope of postseason success. The pressure was on from day one, a unique dynamic for all clubs. To minimize travel and potential exposure, the league implemented a regionally based schedule. Teams would primarily play against opponents within their own geographic division and the corresponding division in the other league. For example, Alabama East teams would play against NL East teams. This logistical overhaul also presented unique challenges, most notably for the Toronto Blue Jays. Due to travel restrictions imposed by the Canadian government, the Blue Jays were unable to play their home games in Toronto. They eventually found a temporary home in Buffalo, New York, adding another layer of complexity to an already extraordinary season for the Canadian club and its dedicated fan base. With the decision made to proceed with a shortened season, Major League Baseball rolled out an extensive set of health and safety protocols. These were designed to create as safe an environment as possible for everyone involved. Frequent COVID-19 testing for players and team personnel became a daily reality. Strict social distancing measures were mandated in clubhouses, dugouts, and during travel. Each team also had designated compliance officers tasked with ensuring adherence to these new, comprehensive guidelines. The league understood that the success of the season hinged on the effectiveness of these protocols and the collective buy-in from all participants, a significant undertaking for all 30 clubs. Despite these robust measures, the virus proved to be a formidable opponent. Shortly after the season commenced in late July, significant COVID-19 outbreaks began to emerge, underscoring the pervasive nature of the pandemic. The Miami Marlins experienced a substantial outbreak starting around July 27, 2020, which quickly spread through their roster. Soon after, on July 31, 2020, the St. Louis Cardinals faced a similar situation, with multiple players and staff members testing positive. These outbreaks served as stark reminders of the fragility of the season and the constant threat posed by the virus, testing the league's resolve almost immediately. The outbreaks within the Marlins and Cardinals organizations led to a cascade of game cancellations and postponements. In a similar situation, with multiple players and staff members testing positive. These outbreaks served as stark reminders of the fragility of the season and the constant threat posed by the virus, testing the league's resolve almost immediately. The outbreaks within the Marlins and Cardinals organizations led to a cascade of game cancellations and postponements. Entire series were wiped off the schedule and teams had to endure extended periods of inactivity while players recovered and underwent further testing. This created significant logistical nightmares for MLB schedulers, who worked tirelessly to revise the already condensed 60-game calendar. Doubleheaders, often consisting of 2 7-inning games, became more common as the league tried to make up lost contests. The integrity of the schedule was constantly under pressure, and flexibility became the watchword for every team navigating these turbulent waters. The severity of these early outbreaks prompted serious concern at the league office. On July 31, 2020, reports surfaced that MLB had warned of a potential season shutdown if the situation did not improve and if protocols were not strictly followed by all. It was a critical juncture. The very continuation of the 2020 season hung precariously in the balance. However, after careful consideration and a renewed commitment from teams and players to adhere to the safety guidelines, the league ultimately decided to press forward. The players too showed a remarkable determination to see the season through, understanding the unique circumstances they faced. The unique and concerning circumstances of playing a baseball season during a global pandemic led several players to make difficult personal decisions. A number of high-profile individuals chose to opt out of the 2020 season altogether, citing health concerns for themselves or their families. Among those who made this choice were notable names like David Price of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Buster Posey of the San Francisco Giants, and Ryan Zimmerman of the Washington Nationals. These decisions were respected across the league, highlighting the very real anxieties and risks that players weighed when considering participation in the shortened campaign, a testament to the unusual pressures of the year. Beyond the direct impact of COVID-19 infections and opt-outs, the unusual nature of the 2020 season also appeared to affect player health in other ways. The significantly altered ramp-up period, with spring training being abruptly halted, and then a condensed summer camp leading into the season, raised concerns about injury rates. One study indicated that MLB pitchers were nearly 3 times more likely to require ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction, commonly known as Tommy John surgery, per game in 2020. This was potentially attributed to the decreased preseason pitching workload, an unfortunate consequence of the unprecedented disruption to traditional preparation routines. To adapt to the unique demands of the 2020 season and to help manage pitcher workloads and game flow, several key rule changes were implemented. Perhaps the most significant was the introduction of the designated hitter rule in the National League for the first time in its history. This brought the NL in line with the American League, which had used the DH for decades. The move was partly aimed at protecting pitchers from batting-related injuries and adding more offense to the game, a change many fans had debated for years and finally saw implemented, albeit under extraordinary circumstances. Other notable rule adjustments were also put into place specifically for the 2020 season. To help teams manage the condensed schedule and potential for numerous makeup games, doubleheader contests were shortened to 7 innings each, rather than the traditional 9. Furthermore, to expedite the conclusion of games that went into extra innings and reduce extended player exertion, a new rule was introduced. Each extra inning would begin with a runner automatically placed on second base. These changes aimed to streamline play and prioritize player safety during a season that was anything but ordinary, making for some uniquely strategic. The move was partly aimed at protecting pitchers from batting-related injuries and adding more offense to the game, a change many fans had debated for years and finally saw implemented, albeit under extraordinary circumstances. Other notable rule adjustments were also put into place specifically for the 2020 season. To help teams manage the condensed schedule and potential for numerous makeup games, doubleheader contests were shortened to 7 innings each, rather than the traditional 9. Furthermore, to expedite the conclusion of games that went into extra innings and reduce extended player exertion, a new rule was introduced. Each extra inning would begin with a runner automatically placed on second base. These changes aimed to streamline play and prioritize player safety during a season that was anything but ordinary, making for some uniquely strategic late-game situations. One of the most visually striking aspects of the 2020 MLB season was the absence of fans in the stands for the vast majority of games. Ballparks, usually teeming with life and energy, sat eerily silent, a stark reminder of the ongoing pandemic. While some states considered allowing limited attendance later in the season and a small number of fans were present for the NLCS and World Series, the regular season was largely played before empty seats. This created a surreal atmosphere for players and for those watching at home. Team announcers often had to adapt as well, with many broadcasting games remotely from their home cities, rather than traveling with their teams. The pandemic also forced the cancellation of several marquee MLB events. The 2020 All-Star Game, which was scheduled to be hosted by the Los Angeles Dodgers, was called off. Similarly, international showcase events, such as the London Series, were also canceled. These decisions, while disappointing, were necessary to minimize travel and large gatherings. On a more positive note for fans seeking more baseball action, the postseason format was significantly expanded for 2020. Instead of the usual 10 teams, a total of 16 teams, 8 from each league, qualified for the playoffs, creating a wide-open race for the championship and offering more fan bases a taste of October baseball. Despite the challenges, the shortened season produced memorable performances and deserving award winners. In the American League, Jose Abreu of the Chicago White Sox had a phenomenal year, earning him the Most Valuable Player award. His powerful hitting was a consistent force for the White Sox. In the National League, Freddie Freeman of the Atlanta Braves took home MVP honors, leading his team with exceptional offensive output and steady leadership. These players excelled under the most unusual of circumstances, delivering performances that stood out even in a season defined by its uniqueness, truly remarkable achievements for both men. The pitching prowess was also recognized with the Cy Young Awards. Shane Bieber of the Cleveland Indians dominated American League hitters, securing the AL Cy Young with a stellar season on the mound. In the National League, Trevor Bauer, then with the Cincinnati Reds, put together an outstanding campaign to win the NL Cy Young Award. The season culminated in the World Series, where the Los Angeles Dodgers faced the Tampa Bay Rays. In a hard-fought series, the Dodgers emerged victorious